Lots more we need to talk about this evening because, of course, the Labour Party have been focusing a lot on growth. I have to say, though, many people are saying that the UK is essentially on recession watch. It didn't go well. The economy is shrinking. It's down by 0.1% in October. These are the ONS figures. Let's listen to Rachel Reeves and what she has to say.
But it's not possible to turn around more than a decade of poor economic growth and stagnant living standards in just a few months. But you'll see from the plans we've been announcing, whether that is the energy reforms we've published today, the reforms to build 1.5 million homes that we published yesterday, the pensions reforms, the creation of a national wealth fund, this government are getting on with the job in improving economic growth and driving up living standards.
You can tell it's Friday because that entire time I was supposedly listening to Rachel Reeves there, the only thing I could hear in my own head, and I had to stop myself singing it out loud, is, you know that song, and I do apologise for my awful singing voice, but you know that song that goes, give me just a little more time? Do you know that song? Do you know what I mean? That's the only thing that I could hear. More time, more time, more time. That is what the Labour Party need. Is that going to fix things? Listen to Mel Stride, his view.
And what this shows is that this government's constant talking down of the UK economy is coming through in these numbers.
Zia Youssef, your thoughts?
I don't think the biggest factor is talking down the British economy. I think the fact is that one could spend a century scouring the United Kingdom and struggle to find somebody less suited to be Chancellor of the Exchequer than Rachel Reeves.
Harsh.
We
Why?
have somebody
She's
whose
an economist,
first act,
don't you know?
somebody whose her first budget put a tax on jobs, increased the employer's national insurance contribution, wouldn't even acknowledge that that would have an impact economically. When we talk to people who run hospitality businesses, for example, I spoke to one just a few weeks ago, who said that the increase in national insurance to the employer had added £200,000 to his wage bill, which tips him over the edge in terms of having to put his business, sadly, into insolvency, which means that everybody was going to then lose their job. This is part of the problem when you have, or a symptom of the fact that you have a Labour cabinet, almost none of whom have ever had serious jobs where they were responsible for second and third order effects, let alone run companies. And so we have a Labour government who are willing to increase taxes on jobs, absolutely no understanding of systems nor second and third order effects, who are obsessed with net zero and also have no understanding of supply and demand. You had Keir Starmer this week tweeting out that they were incredibly proud of their target of 1.5 million new homes during the period of this government. Now, by the way, that would be better than any government has ever done. Even if they were to hit that target, by their own numbers, they're importing 2.5 million net new people this year. How is that going to help people get onto the housing ladder? What you need is a surplus of new homes relative to population growth. We have the opposite.
No optimism coming from there, then, when it comes to Rachel Reeves. Are you feeling slightly more optimistic about it, James?
I'm afraid I'm not, because the problem with just wanging on about growth is unless you can find that magic button that they've hidden somewhere in the Treasury that says growth and just work out how you can just hit it, you actually need to have some policies and some plan to do so. And the reason why they've been talking about growth, and it's a kind of traditional right wing of the Labour Party thing to do, is to avoid talking about redistribution. Because if you say the economy is growing, therefore we don't need to talk about taxing the rich or looking at multinationals.
James, the rich pay a fortune. How much more do you want people to pay? And how much more do you think people will withstand paying before they say, do you know what, no thanks, I'm off?
So, for example, let's say you have more than £10 million in assets in the UK. I think you could easily pay substantially more. And you know what? Those assets are here. You can't just up and leave. You can't pick up houses. You can't pick up factories. You can't pick up banks. You can't pick up our mortgages.
You can sell houses and you can sell businesses
sure,
and you can sell equity stakes.
Yeah, but they're still here. The business is still here. The house is still here.
I used to have to use the razor that my ex-girlfriend used to shave her legs. It scratched me and it made me feel weird. But fear not, because Manscaped is back with a game changer. This isn't just any old shaver. We're talking about the Chairman Pro Electric Foil Shaver with two interchangeable skin-safe blade heads. One for that baby smooth look and another when you want to keep it a bit rugged. Get this, it's waterproof. You can use it in the shower, by the pool, or even while scuba diving if that's your thing. This beauty runs for 75 minutes on a single charge. That's enough enough time to shave your face, your mate's face, and still have juice left over for touch-ups. You'll also get their Power Shave Gel for a proper wet shave experience, and a face shave soother to keep your mug looking fresh and irritation-free. It's like having a barber in your bathroom, minus the awkward small talk. Click the link in the description and use the code GBN for a whopping 20% off and free shipping with the code GBN at manscaped.com. Join the 11 million blokes worldwide who trust Manscaped. Your face will thank you, and so will your wallet.
You know, if someone sells a house, someone else can buy the house. It's still here. Fine, you've liquidated and gone abroad. The actual assets remain here. So the reason why they've done this is to avoid anything which looks like it's going to challenge the people who have most of the wealth and power in society. And there isn't a plan for growth. There really isn't. The only thing that they have that could touch the sides at all is the energy investment stuff, and it's got big holes in it, like the thing I was mentioning about how they're doing the auctioning. So no, I'm not confident that that we're going to have growth. We basically have continuity policies that we had from the previous government, which, barring some magical thing, some black swan event in a positive way that we haven't foreseen, you're not going to suddenly have lots of growth, at least not caused by the policies that we have.
There's so much I want to say back to that, but I want you to have the chance to respond because you're a successful businessman in your own right. James suggesting just take more from these wealthy. Is that the solution?
Well, if you just look at the data, the top 1% of payers of income tax or the top 1% of earners pay 28% of the total income tax in this country. We live in a world that is...
Top 10% pay 60 as well, just to be fair, the context.
Indeed. And then we live in a world also which is incredibly mobile. Many people who have the option of leaving the United Kingdom, sadly, are choosing to do so at alarming pace. We have a brain drain of unprecedented scale going on as we speak. All of these things are storing up an unhappy future for us. Now, I would say to all of those people, somebody might, I myself could have left the country. I've chosen not to do that. I believe this country can be turned around and I believe Britain can be the second highest GDP per capita country in the world after the United States. But what I will say is this. One of Reform's flagship policies is to eliminate income tax on earnings below £20,000 per year.
Would you leave the country if there was, say, a 1% annual wealth tax on financial assets over 10 million? I don't know how much
that's not a question. No, hold on, hold your horses, because that can be the million-dollar question that you can have the break to ponder, everybody, because I'm liking this conversation, so I want it to continue. I'll see you in 2. This is the Hello there, I'm Michelle Dewberry. This is Jubes & Co, and we're with you till 7 o'clock tonight. I don't know what's going on behind my head, ladies and gents, but it looks very exotic, whatever and wherever it is. We're not going anywhere, though. We're staying right here till 7. Alongside me, Zia Youssef, the chairman of Reform UK, and I've also got James Schneider, the co-founder of Momentum. Also, and former advisor to Jeremy Corbyn, I've got to say, before the break, James was asking Zia Youssef about wealth taxes and whether or not Zia would be prepared to pay an extra 1% per annum on your wealth. Would you, Zia Youssef?
Well, the question is whether I would leave the country if such a tax was implemented, and the answer is no, because I love this country and I'm not leaving it. But that is not a relevant question when you are creating public policy, asking one particular individual. What matters is how would the general populace of wealth creators and people in that category behave? And there is an abundance of evidence that we now live in a world in which people are incredibly mobile. But I want to come back to the point here that what this country needs is to reduce public spending. One of the things it is addicted to, we have huge amounts of money being spent. One of the biggest proportions of national expenditure is, for example, long-term disability benefit. Now, many of those people need to remain on that, but there are many people we speak to who feel trapped on benefits because when they start working more than 16 hours a week, if they are on those benefits, their marginal rate of tax is over 100%. So what we need to do is incentivize the people who want to work. And to do that, reform would eliminate income tax below £20,000. That would help the youngest people in society and the oldest people in the working population. We live in a country now where over a fifth of our working age adults are not in work and are not seeking work. So all of these, unemployment figures are largely fake because they are gerrymandered by a government who has an incentive to gerrymander them. So what we need to do is incentivize work, and what we do right now is the opposite. When you start working more than 16 hours per week and you are on benefits, you literally have less money at the end of the month, and that is an abomination.
Can I come back about this wealth creation point? Because you might have an argument if we were in an economy that was dynamic, that was producing new things, where there was lots of investment in the real economy. But we don't live in that. We live in a highly financialised economy where competition for control over assets and asset price inflation is the bulk of people's wealth. And in that context, growing wealth means that ordinary people, me and the people at home, are going to own fewer assets. It's not an original observation, but let's take Rishi Sunak, for example. He's got a net worth of, I think, £650 million. Right? Let's say he's not doing very well. He's only making 3% a year on that. So he's got, 20 million-ish pounds a year in passive income. He hasn't done anything. He's just got £20 million more a year.